Have you ever been in a situation where everyone around you is saying one thing, but deep down, you know the truth is something completely different? It's a tough spot to be in, right? The pressure to just go along with the crowd, to not make waves, can be immense. Today, we're going to dive into the incredible story of a man who faced that exact pressure not from his friends or coworkers, but from two powerful kings, and he chose to stand firm for the truth no matter the cost. This is the story of the prophet Micaiah, a tale of courage that is just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Picture this: two great kingdoms, Israel and Judah, have decided to form an alliance. King Ahab of Israel and King Jehoshaphat of Judah are sitting together, planning a major military campaign. Their target is a city called Ramoth-Gilead, which they believe rightfully belongs to Israel, but is currently under enemy control. It's a high-stakes meeting, full of political and military strategy. Before they commit their armies to battle, King Jehoshaphat, a man who generally tried to follow God, has a wise suggestion. He says to Ahab, "First, let's ask for a word from the Lord." Ahab, always one for a big show, gathers about 400 of his court prophets. Imagine the scene: a grand throne room, two kings in their royal robes, and a huge crowd of prophets all gathered to give their divine counsel. Ahab asks them a simple question: "Shall I go to war against Ramoth-Gilead, or shall I refrain?" And in a thunderous, unified voice, all 400 of them shout, "Go, for the Lord will deliver it into the king's hand." It sounds great, right? A unanimous, confident prediction of victory. Who wouldn't want to hear that before heading into battle? But King Jehoshaphat is uneasy. Something doesn't feel right. Maybe it was the sheer perfection of their unity, the way they all said exactly what the king wanted to hear. It felt a little too easy, a little too convenient. So he turns to Ahab and asks a crucial question: "Is there not one more prophet of the Lord here whom we can ask?" It's a moment of spiritual discernment. Jehoshaphat is looking for an authentic voice, not just an echo. King Ahab's response is very telling. He admits, "Well, there is one more man, Micaiah son of Imlah. But I hate him. He never prophesies anything good about me, only bad." Think about that for a second. Ahab isn't questioning whether Micaiah is a true prophet. He's admitting that Micaiah's words come true, but he dislikes the man because he doesn't like the message. He prefers the comfortable lies of his 400 yes men over the uncomfortable truth from one man of God. But Jehoshaphat insists, and reluctantly, Ahab sends for Micaiah. While they're waiting, the messenger sent to fetch Micaiah tries to give him a little friendly advice. He tells him, "Look, all the other prophets are unanimously predicting success for the king. To be safe, your words should agree with theirs. Speak favorably." This is the moment of truth for Micaiah. He's being explicitly told to conform, to blend in, to tell the king what he wants to hear. It's a test of his integrity. Will he prioritize his own safety and popularity, or will he honor his calling as a prophet of God? Micaiah's response is powerful and direct. He says, "As surely as the Lord lives, I can tell him only what the Lord tells me." There's no hesitation, no compromise. His loyalty isn't to the king or to the popular opinion of the other prophets. His loyalty is to God and to the truth. So Micaiah is brought before the two kings. The stage is set. Ahab, likely with a smirk on his face, asks him the same question: "Micaiah, shall we go to war against Ramoth-Gilead, or shall I refrain?" At first, Micaiah says, almost sarcastically, "Attack and be victorious, for the Lord will give it into the king's hand." He parrots the exact words of the false prophets. He's essentially holding up a mirror to Ahab, showing him the absurdity of what he wants to hear. Ahab immediately knows Micaiah isn't being serious. He's been down this road before. He demands, "How many times must I make you swear to tell me nothing but the truth in the name of the Lord?" The irony is staggering. The king who hates the truth is now demanding to hear it. And this is where Micaiah's courage shines brightest. He drops the sarcasm and delivers the true, unfiltered word from God. He says, "I saw all Israel scattered on the hills like sheep without a shepherd, and the Lord said, 'These people have no master. Let each one go home in peace.'" This is a devastating prophecy. It's a vision of military defeat, of an army in chaos, and of the king's death. He's telling Ahab directly, "If you go into this battle, you will die, and your army will be scattered." As you can imagine, the room falls silent. Then, One of the lead false prophets, a man named Zedekiah, marches up to Micaiah and slaps him across the face. He mocks him, saying, "Which way did the Spirit from the Lord go when he went from me to speak to you?" He's basically saying, "You think you're the only one who hears from God? You're a liar." This wasn't just a verbal disagreement. It was public humiliation and physical assault. How does Micaiah respond? Not with anger or by hitting back. He simply says, "You will find out on the day you go to hide in an inner room." He knows that truth has a way of revealing itself. Zedekiah will see the truth of Micaiah's words when he is cowering in fear after the battle has been lost. Ahab, furious, turns to Jehoshaphat and says, "See, didn't I tell you he never prophesies anything good about me, only bad?" He completely misses the point. He's still focused on how the message makes him feel, rather than on whether it's true. Instead of heeding the life-saving warning, Ahab orders his guards to put this fellow in prison and give him nothing but bread and water until I return safely. He is so confident in his own plan that he can't even fathom the idea of not returning. Micaiah gets the final word. As he's being dragged away to prison, he calls out to everyone present, "If you ever return safely, the Lord has not spoken through me." He stakes his entire prophetic reputation, and indeed his life, on the truth of his message. He is willing to be locked away, to suffer, and to be proven a fraud if Ahab returns. That's the level of conviction he has. And what happens? The two kings go to battle. King Ahab, perhaps with a sliver of fear, disguises himself so he won't be a target. But you can't outsmart a divine prophecy. The Bible tells us that a soldier drew his bow at random, and the arrow just happened to find a gap in Ahab's armor, mortally wounding him. Just as Micaiah had prophesied, Ahab died, and his army was scattered like sheep without a shepherd. The truth, however unpopular and harsh, came to pass. Micaiah was vindicated, not in a triumphant, "I told you so" moment, but in the tragic fulfillment of his warning. The story of Micaiah is so much more than just an ancient historical account. It's a timeless lesson in integrity, courage, and the importance of standing for truth, even when you're standing alone. Micaiah could have taken the easy way out. He could have agreed with the 400 prophets, earned the king's favor, and gone home to a nice dinner. But he chose the difficult path. He chose truth over popularity, integrity over comfort, and obedience to God over obedience to man. In our own lives, we face our own Micaiah moments. Maybe not with kings and battles, but in our workplaces, in our schools, among our friends, or even online. We are constantly presented with the choice to go along with the crowd or to stand for what we know is right. It can be scary to be the lone voice of dissent, to speak a truth that others don't want to hear. But Micaiah's story reminds us that true strength isn't found in a majority vote. It's found in a character that is anchored in truth. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the right thing even when you are afraid. Micaiah was likely afraid. He was facing a powerful, ruthless king. But his fear of God was greater than his fear of man. He understood that his ultimate accountability was to the one who gave him the message. That's a powerful principle for all of us. When we know what is right, what is true, what is just, we have a responsibility to speak it and to live it, trusting that the outcome is in greater hands than our own. Thank you so much for joining me today to explore this incredible story of courage. I hope it inspires you as much as it inspires me. If you found this video meaningful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more stories like this. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had a Micaiah moment? How did you handle it? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.